The plan for the preseason finale on Thursday night at Carolina is for the starting secondary to make its collective Steelers debut. Defensive tackle Cameron Hayward, outside linebacker TJ Watt, quarterback Aaron Rodgers, and wide receiver DK Metcalf won't play against the Panthers, head coach Mike Tomlin announced after practice today. Everyone else is under consideration, Tomlin emphasized. They're preparing as if they're going to play. That would include starting cornerbacks Darius Slay and Joey Porter Jr., starting cornerback/slot cornerback/safety Jalen Ramsey, and starting safety Deshaun Elliott. Those four are among a host of Steelers who sat out the first two preseason games, August 9th at Jacksonville and last Saturday night at Acrisure Stadium against Tampa Bay. There are a lot of variables in it, who's playing for Carolina and things of that nature that might provide worthy competition, Tomlin continued. But as I sit here today, all healthy outside of the four that I mentioned are preparing and scheduled to play. We'll get to the stadium and we'll see what's happening on the other side, and we may alter that in some ways. But I'm hopeful that we get an opportunity to play, particularly in the secondary. I'm not worried about the overall readiness of the collective. I just think cohesion is such a major component of what they do, the ability to communicate in stadium. It's the same reason why our young offensive front has been working. Obviously, they lack collective experience that we have in the secondary, and so they've played through some. But I am excited about maybe seeing that secondary in a stadium. Players dealing with injuries will once again be given every opportunity to participate. Tomlin mentioned outside linebacker Alex Highsmith, cornerback Dante Kent, wide receiver Calvin Austin III, and others working their way back to us in that category. Highsmith, Kent, and Austin are also among those who have yet to appear in a preseason game. We'll make an 11th-hour decision on those guys, Tomlin said. We're always going to be inclusive this time of year because we realize the scarcity of the opportunities. If proven health enough, we'll give those that have missed time an opportunity to play. And a lot of those judgments, or at least some of these judgments, could come down to pre-game work. Decisions such as the one to play as veterans in the secondary, Tomlin maintained, are made according to what I see. We were living a week at a time, he said. I made the decision based on the here and now. A desire to see the Steelers' revamped secondary in action and, perhaps, a need to see the new collective working together may also have factored into the equation. There's a fine line between eager and need, Tomlin said. There's a collective component, a communication component, a coordination component to what they do. If they get an opportunity to get some snaps versus some really capable people in the stadium, we'd appreciate it. All four players who won't play have yet to appear in a preseason game. Hayward participated in individual and teamwork at practice today, Tomlin confirmed. Rodgers is on course to make his Steelers debut in the regular season opener on September 7th against the New York Jets, as is Metcalf. I'm comfortable with what I'm seeing out here, Tomlin said. If I weren't, obviously, I'd be playing him. Defensive lineman Cameron Hayward has been one of the more popular players with the Pittsburgh Steelers over the past decade and a half. But it's safe to say popular Pittsburgh media personality Mark Madden isn't a fan. At least he isn't anymore. Madden significantly criticized Hayward on Wednesday, even after the defensive lineman returned to practice Tuesday, which is expected to end his contract hold-in. Hayward wasn't wronged even a little bit in this skirmish, wrote Madden. Hayward had already received a $13.45 million roster bonus in March. He was withholding work already paid for. Hayward declined to bet on himself a year ago when he signed what he later deemed to be an inferior extension. Sure, he outperformed the contract. But NFL deals don't come with autocorrect. I love that line and will shoehorn it in whenever possible. So, too bad for Hayward. I'm also underpaid. I bet you feel like you are, too. Hayward explained to reporters on August 11th the Steelers asked him to take a pay cut in contract negotiations during 2024. But in addition to the pay decrease, Hayward received the security of 2 additional years with the team. The defensive lineman is signed through the 2026 season, when he'll be 37 years old. Madden mentioned its Steelers' policy to not rework contracts with 2 years remaining. Mark Madden names 2 reasons Cameron Hayward gave up in new contract negotiations. The Pittsburgh sports personality argued Hayward caved in the contract standoff for 2 reasons. He was becoming the clear-cut bad guy in the eyes of the citizens. Hayward wants to be liked. Walter Payton, NFL Man of the Year, community service, blah, 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 wrote Madden. Hayward realized, or was strongly told, that the Steelers weren't going to budge off their organizational policy of not renegotiating contracts that have over a year remaining. That's a good guideline. You'd otherwise be reworking deals constantly. The first point is an opinion not all Steelers pundits and fans are going to hold. Hayward has been a popular figure in Pittsburgh in part because of his charity work, and no one has previously suggested the defensive lineman only performs his charity to be well-liked. But football pundits have argued the 2 years remaining on Hayward's deal was going to make renegotiation for the Steelers not possible. Even former Steelers rival and receiver Chad Johnson argued that point on his podcast. I'm going to tell you how the Rooney's thinking. I'm going to tell you what Mike Tomlin's thinking, Johnson told his co-host and former NFL tight end Shannon Sharpe on August 14th. How old is Cam Hayward? They're not doing it, they're not doing it, they're not doing it. 36 years old. Come on now. When Hayward signed his contract last offseason, it was portrayed in the media as the last deal he would receive. The contract was also supposed to guarantee Hayward and his career with the Steelers. Hayward outplayed worth of contract extension. The problem with Hayward's extension a year later is ultimately a good one to have. The defensive lineman played so well in 2024 that he significantly outperformed the deal. Hayward experienced arguably the best season of his career at 35 years old. He made first-team All-Pro with 71 combined tackles, including 12 tackles for loss and 20 quarterback hits. Hayward also had 8 sacks and a career-high 11 pass defenses. That performance is why Hayward has argued he deserves a raise. I'm looking for my contract to be addressed, Hayward said, via the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review's Chris Adamaski. When I look around at my position, I'm like 22nd as a D tackle, I'm 36th as a D lineman. I know what I bring to this team and what I'm capable of on and off the field. The extension Hayward signed last year gave him an average annual salary of $14.5 million. According to Spotrac, that's tied for 35th among all defensive linemen. Obviously, Hayward is badly underpaid. But that's a moot point to the Steelers since there's still 2 years remaining on the deal. As Madden mentioned, the team has also already paid Hayward a majority of his average annual salary with his roster bonus that was due in March. Hayward practiced with the team for the first time Tuesday. The defensive lineman won't play in the team's preseason finale Thursday. But that's not all that surprising. Other Steelers stars such as T.J. Watt, DK Metcalf, and Aaron Rodgers won't play Thursday either. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a line of visits coming up with veteran players. For starters, Pittsburgh brought wide receiver Gabe Davis in for a second time this offseason as they continue to look for another receiver to strengthen their receiving core. Now, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Pittsburgh is set to host veteran guard Dalton Risner. Free agent guard Dalton Risner, who worked out for the Bengals today, will also visit the Seahawks, per source, Fowler reports. He's visiting the Steelers, who are also a consideration. Wants to take multiple visits before making a decision. Risner has started 81 games in his 6-year career with the Denver Broncos and Minnesota Vikings. He started 8 games for the Vikings in 2024.